So therefore the clearing process, as you all know, but I'm going to teach you again, is the first thing is noticing. So therefore the present, so like earlier we did the omming, we ommed for 10 minutes and we brought ourselves into that still place. So ideally throughout the day we need to be taking a deep breath into our tummy, bringing us back to presence. How am I moving? How am I breathing? How am I feeling? Just throughout the day come back to presence, so that then we are going to notice if our energy changes. We're going to notice our body. So we'll notice if there's a tension. Because the trouble is, if we tense all the time, then we're more tightly wired, we're more likely to ruh. Whereas if we're more concentrating on being relaxed and bringing ourselves back to that place, we'll feel the change of energy in our body, and we'll feel it whether it's in our heart, our tummy, our head, and then we'll know that we're in danger. It's a dangerous situation, because what's likely to happen is we have actually all the time in the world between that feeling in our body and what response we make. In that space we can change our life. We change the course of the day, we change the course of everything. Because everything can be lost. Everything. Relationships are ruined, relationships are ended just by that feeling in the body, and then blah, and it will always be coming from childhood. Now that doesn't, the history, that doesn't mean we accept bad behaviour. It doesn't mean it's all right for somebody to abuse us or do any manner of things. But it never works if we're reactive. All we do is we loop into old patterns, we loop into old behaviours, we loop. So it's really important to start practicing and forgive yourself always if you do react. Because the thing is, if you go, oh, I've done it again, then you can't learn. We have to keep learning, and we have to go and reacting isn't always going there. Reacting can be pushing it down and withdrawing, and just it's happened in the body, and then you've pushed it down, and then that's a reaction, as much of a reaction. A withdrawal is as much of a reaction as a going at each other. And so it's noticing it first. You feel it in the body, knowing that you can now change your life in this moment. The present moment, we can heal the past and we can create a different future. Every single moment we can not act out of that old way. The thing is with humans is we are very, very familiar with our old ways, and often it's very difficult to change it. I was talking with Sophie yesterday about one of my clients who, I won't mind putting this on camera, he used to have a lot of road rage, and he felt great grief when he lost it, because it was a part of himself he'd been so familiar with, and then it was gone, and he didn't know who he was. And these things, we know ourselves often by our reactions, and we think, oh, that's just so and so. And as we go through life, people get to know, oh, she's this like that, and she's like this, but we're not. We don't need to be reactive. So so we know that we can change our lives. The clearing of the energy, that sometimes won't happen immediately, using the breath. Sometimes if we've been very triggered, it can take days, because you can still feel it coming up, but you don't have to act out of it. If you're acting out of a reactivity, you're just reenacting the past. But you don't want to push it down, you don't want to distract from it, don't want to, if possible, just try to drink it away or drug it away. You need to be aware of it and know that it needs to clear as it clears. But I always found just knowing it was there, but not putting a narrative to it, not saying that person did that, and that person, whoever it is, however badly they behave. It changes things if we don't project it onto the person, because we can get wise. It doesn't mean we won't then have to deal with the people in front of us. I said deal with them, go and have the conversations and but we can actually be completely different, and therefore not acting out of it is absolutely of paramount importance. Not act, and if you do forgive yourself, do always forgive yourself, like I do you. And act to yourselves like I do, because you often have come in and it's all gone a bit wrong, but it doesn't, it's really important you're kind to yourselves, so that otherwise it doesn't allow for the healing. So then the clearing can be through the breath, definitely not creating the psychological drama with the narrative and the feeling and looping it into a loop, into what Johnny was describing in his mess.
Yeah, mess, it's a mess.
Not you a mess, the thing, isn't it? The feeling. And Some people find that having a shower clears it, oming, going for a run, and as I say, sometimes it goes, or you can feel it, it flashes through the body, disappears. Some clearings take 30 seconds, some take 10 days. Well, all they keep coming up in different guises, you know, and it gets paler and paler. My wrong thing took me years and years and years, and then it disappeared, and therefore I faced it all the time. I feel that feeling. I was saying that to Anadi, I said, I've always enjoyed working with groups of people, but I enjoy it more than ever now. I worked in groups. I worked in the corporate world in the 90s, and I generally work one-on-one, but I had to do group work as well. So I worked with Bass Brewers, and I worked with 8 managers, so I had to have them together for groups too. And I found it so exhausting because of my wrong thing, because I was so sensitive to them having a bit of a process. But of course, if you think it's you, and it might be me, but so what if it is? You've still got to, you know, not feel wrong. So it's worth working on. It could take me years, you know, and I was working in groups with that, and I'd notice people all the time, and of course it would trigger my wrong thing, the joy and the bliss of not having it. But the only way that's gone, Wednesdays, I was so guilty, wasn't I? I was consumed with guilt. I just had this guilt about everything, I think. Guilt, I wasn't sure that what I was saying was exactly accurate. So have I completely told the truth? You know, it's stressful. And now obviously that's going to be coming from childhood stuff and sensitivity. And of course the combination, and we're all sensitive actually, but it's worth not thinking if it comes up again, oh God, I've not done it. It gets paler and paler. So if it comes up again, whatever your deepest fear is, whatever your reactivity, it isn't, one of the things that blocks the work is going, oh no, I haven't done it, you know. Whereas actually if it just comes up, clear it, and then suddenly the same thing happens. Somebody says something that would have upset you, and you go, well, I didn't take it personally. Yeah, it's very good when these things don't, because you don't agonise over what, you know, what might have been. And so and essentially that is the essence of it. Be committed 24/7. This is an orientation. It isn't something that you get done. It's it's an orientation. An orientation, and of course the more you're clearer, the more you can expand, the more you can take on, because you're not afraid. And